Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a track by an ex named Brian Walton titled The Karen brackets Can't Understand Normal Thanking in brackets song. And if we switch over to here, I'm sure that this Can't Understand Normal Thanking makes for an interesting acronym. We've got the album here, with the guy losing his mind, and that woman looks very angry. So we're going to listen through this track from start to finish, going to hear what we think. But actually, first of all, we should just we got the lyrics actually as well here, in case we need them for later on. Final pre-release, she wants to talk to the manager. A shout out to my peeps in customer service. As someone who has been in customer service for 14 years, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Composed by Brian Walton, mixed, mastered, and produced at Musty Dungeon Studios in Chalice, Idaho. Performers: Brian Walton, piano, bass, guitars, and vocals. Bart DeVorst, rhythm and lead guitars. Daniel Bleachy, pedal steel guitar, and Corey Bergeron, drums. So without further ado, we're going to listen through this track from start to finish. Want to hear what we think? Let's go. Oh, instantly with the slide guitars, drums, bass. Interesting. It's definitely that country vibe, you know what I mean?
At the grocery store, checking my pockets for cash. When up came this lady, all wild-eyed and crazy. She wanted to kick my ass.
I love the sense of humor with it as well. Again, I know there's lyrics down the bottom here. I'm just trying to listen through the song, get the story that way. I love how the piano as well comes in that second half of that verse stanza, just to kind of add a little bit of that dissension into a bad time kind of feel with the harmony.
She poked me and said, "How dare you not let a mother with child cut in?" But I looked around and pointed out with a frown, "Your kid's outside near the trash bin."
It's such a comment on modern society, isn't it? I like the way the guy's delivering it as well. He's not afraid to be a bit more flexible with the rhythmic delivery, the cadence of these. It's meant to be more of a journey, an insight into his day-to-day meanderings, rather with these with these Karens than anything else. It's enjoying it so far. Again, we've got a lovely range of different instruments here, and it's really pleasant to listen to.
She was the queen in high school, smart girl, the top of her class.
Nice, cool, and responsive with that lead guitar there.
She pictures on Twitter and showed off her naked dance. Now it's t-shirts, sunglasses, and leggings.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Cases of wine is what she's drinking. She no longer cares, so you better beware, 'cause she can't understand normal thinking.
Ah, beautiful. No, it's one of the best told stories I've heard all year. I just love. It's kind of wholesome in a weird way. You know the underlying message is that it's not, but there's such a playful and sense of it's so mischievous that it gets away with it. Oh. That was a slick little lead part we had there. Solid technique showing there. It's nice just to have a break between the chorus and the verse, just to be able to absorb everything else.
To the movies, settled in and took off my hat.
Ooh, some natural harmonics there. It's a nice touch.
Came two ladies dressed like the 80s. I swear one was holding her cat. They proceeded to sit behind me.
Oh, that was such a clever thing there. That was such a clever way of switching up that midpoint of this verse. I could never have seen that coming. Let the drum come in a bit more, because the drums have been fairly supportive for the most part. They haven't wanted to necessarily draw attention to themselves. But those triplet snare fills there, that's just it's a nice way to break it off and have that break,
While kicking my back,
It's really,
turned to complain.
it's clever songwriting.
In vain, 'cause a person
Nice semitone glide there.
Smart girl, the top of her class. But she took to liquor, posted pictures on Twitter, and showed off her naked dance. Now it's t-shirts, sunglasses, and leggings. Cases of wine is what she's drinking.
See, I love the wordplay there because, you know, it could be that she's whining, but also she could just be drinking, you know, and that's sort of something. I mean, I know that you know this because A, the vocals are coming through clearly in the mix. You know, I know you get it, but I'm reviewing it. I've got to kind of point it out, you know?
Care, so you better beware, 'cause she can't understand normal thinking.
Really nice way of rounding that out there. With that, double chorus? Okay. Oh. Feisty distorted guitar here.
Posted pictures on Twitter and showed off her naked dance. Now it's t-shirts, sunglasses, and leggings. Cases of wine is what she's drinking. She no longer cares, so you better beware, 'cause she can't understand normal thinking.
Oh, we got an instrumental outro now? Classy. Okay. Repeating that line. That's cool. That hook line. That's cool. Oh, dude, the musicianship on display here. And they're all taking turns. You know, we don't have any of them fighting for the spotlight. We have, on one side, we have like the slide steel pedal steel guitar, you know? Or on the other side, we have the lead guitar doing some bends and pentatonic bits. Or you have the piano doing some grace notes there. Lovely arpeggios there. It's just so much to appreciate and take in. Genuinely, I don't get to listen to a lot of music like this, and I've been told that I should. You know, we don't have this level of I live in New Zealand. We don't really have as much of a country music scene here. But there is, but there's not. It's definitely not like, for instance, like in the United States. So it's cool to hear stuff like this from that part of the world, and to hear the really, you know, classy quality stuff. Because, you know, this is my conclusion of the Karen Can't Understand Normal Thanking song by Brian Walton and friends. Again, Bart did first. Daniel Beachy. Did I say Daniel Bleachy initially? Daniel Beachy. I'm gonna have to correct that if I got that wrong. Hopefully I haven't. Daniel Beachy, pedal steel guitar, and Corey Bergeron on drums. Where do I start? Again, the story is pretty straightforward. I'm sure everyone listening to this got it. Part and parcel because of the way the post-production's been done, the way the vocals have been recorded, and the clarity of everything else in the mix and the space it gives the story to shine. But for anyone else who missed it, effectively this is about someone who was having day-to-day dealings with quote-unquote Karen, who can't understand normal thinking, and it's a song about that. And again, you got that stereotype there, and it's someone who like may have had all this potential when she was younger, but squandered it, and is miserable, and is taking that frustration out on everyone else. It's something that I think is important to make music about, because again, as someone, you know, not just with these reviews, but has also worked in supermarkets and other, like, all sorts of customer service roles. People don't change regardless of where you work. You'll get them in any sort of position, people who feel entitled to your time and your attention and get really salty when you don't give it to them. So I appreciate the song for that reason amongst the others, you know. So I have a personal connection to it, and I think a lot of people will too, because there are a lot of people who are working in customer service, and there are a lot of people who work in customer service that are not getting treated well in general. Performance from Brian Walton is absolutely sensational. Not just the vocal harmonies, which were crisp and colourful and bright and snappy, but also you have just not just the interesting vocal melodies that were on display from Brian that matched the tone of the story. It's just the genuine emoting that was going on from Brian, the approach to the way that he was singing these lines, that the way he knew to kind of be a little bit more playful again in those parts where there was a bit of sense of humor shown, but also there was a bit of sadness in that chorus that I could hear. It's someone saying, you know, watching the downfall of someone and feeling bad for them, but also being, you know, frustrated. You know, he got whacked with a purse. It sucks. You know, it's a great take on it. I'm happy with the way that Brian sung. You don't need more than that in a song like this. He nailed it. The structure of this track, yeah, the traditional verse, chorus, ABAB structure with the intro and outro there, with an interlude section as well. Although, you know, we had a double chorus at the end. Usually I'm not a massive fan of that, but Brian Walton managed to add enough change in that second time with the different solo parts on lead instruments that it was entertaining, and I didn't regret listening to it. I think that it's totally okay to do double choruses. You have to make sure the second time has something extra. You can't just copy and paste, because especially if you've put so much effort into the original musical concepts of like the verse and chorus, that if you just go and half-ass it for the last bit, it's a shame. And that wasn't what we got here. Brian and team did a fantastic job with this. You know, again, we had like pedal steel guitars, drums, rhythm and lead guitars, you know, bass, vocals, and piano. And each of these instruments featured well. They showed their strengths. Nothing was overplayed. You know, again, there was some really spicy, quick lead lines on the guitar parts, their strings, but it wasn't like it ever felt like too much. And I think part of that is because they were featured in little bits. Nothing ever had like the attention of the listener for more than like 4 to 8 bars. And it just would have felt a little bit unusual for it to have been longer, that especially in this song where it's more vocal, the story, it's thematically oriented rather than an overall vibe to it, you know. Although the vibe to it was great, you know, it matched the story. It's just that I'm glad that we had each of it. We had it in little bits and we could enjoy it more so because of that, you know. When it came back later on, like when there was another piano part later on, you went like, oh, I've heard that piano ages already. It was like, oh, no, I love it. It's cool. I'm glad it's back. The studio production, recording, mixing, and mastering was sensational. It was commercial ready. It sounded like it was released by a successful record label. Really well. I'm really thankful for that, because I feel like if the studio side of things had been less than satisfactory for this track, it just would have been such a shame. Because I can tell that Brian Walton and everyone else involved put a lot of effort into it. So thank you to Brian Walton for taking that side of things serious and getting people involved who know what they're doing. The quality of the recording different instruments was fantastic. The vocals sounded nice and full in the mix, you know. There's a lot of brightness to it, but it was also EQ'd well, so with no resonances there. You know, there was minimalist effects chains applied to the different instruments, which I think is great. You see more of that raw tone from them, but it also, the mastering chain was absolutely splendid. It was spectacular. It just was nice and loud. There was a lovely warmth to it from like, it sounded like it was going through an analog disc. I know you can get that through like non-analogs, but you know what I mean. It just had that kind of traditional sort of LP-ish kind of glow to it. You know, the panning of different instruments, filtering as well, you know, and no instruments were fighting with each other in the frequency spectrum or the stereo field. It was really impressive. Well done to Brian Walton with the Karen Can't Understand Normal Thanking song. I genuinely appreciated my time with it. But thank you very much for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, please do go check out Brian Walton's various social medias and his SoundCloud page. And stay cool and stay safe, and please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either hell more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.